since I did my very first contest. Learn how to be more organized. Whether you're prepping for 12, 18, 24 weeks, it gives you skills to be more organized, like time management. You become more disciplined. It gives you like self-respect.
Hey, winners, and welcome to episode 266 of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast. This is your bi-weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym. And I am your host, Coach Colt. We are 8 weeks out from the Open Natural Bodybuilding Competition in Seattle, Washington. Jairo Chang, the show promoter, and I will be speaking to the spectators. That is, those of you that have never been to a bodybuilding show before, as well as those who have never competed before that want a better idea as to what is all involved in a competition prep. Athletes, you can share this podcast with your friends and family, people at the gym, your local health and supplement store, or basically anybody that wants to see you compete. Listeners, if you've never been to a natural bodybuilding show, I think you should really find one nearby. They are not as popular as non-tested shows, but you'll be surprised in the USA to find that most states do offer some sort of drug-tested opportunity to compete nearby in natural bodybuilding. So, unfortunately, there's not much to pick from here in Montana. So for me, my closest option and best bet is actually the Open Natural, the show that I'm co-hosting with Jairo in Seattle. Last year, Jairo and I co-hosted the first annual competition to offer a budget-friendly opportunity for natural bodybuilders to compete for cash prizes and an opportunity to compete at Mr. America. I was the guest poser and look forward to guest posing again this year. So we'll touch base on how my prep is going concerning my diet and training, as I plan on having a better physique this year than I did last year. John Maxwell says in his book, the 15 Invaluable Laws of Growth, a law called the Law of the Rubber Band, and it states that growth stops when you lose the tension between where you are and where you could be. Jairo Chang is an IPE and PNBA Pro, a judge for INBA, OCB, NGA, and AAU Natural Bodybuilding Federations, and is a powerlifting club coach and NAS certified nutrition coach. Jairo is someone that lives this rule out, the law of the rubber band, that is, and inspires me to progress every year to bring a better physique than I did the previous year. This year, I really want to capture the old school 70s and 80s aesthetic, as Jairo and I are both passionate about the division of classic physique. Jairo, welcome back to the show, pal. How's life been treating you?
Hey, I'm doing pretty well. Yeah, it's great to see you again, Cole. Thanks for having me here again. And yeah, look forward to another good episode on your show, brother.
Good stuff. I'm looking forward to it, my brother. So, so I've been getting lots of questions from everybody that's signed up for this show and excited to step on stage, right? And so, like a lot of these frequently asked questions, I think before we hit record, we went over about 8 of them. First one that we have is, what should a spectator expect to if they attended a show? Like if you're going to go watch a bodybuilding show, what happens there?
Yeah, I think we're living a really good time where I think we have a great opportunity for bodybuilding shows to grow. And I think it's very relevant, especially in these times where a lot of us are following these idols, on social media, on Instagram, and you see a lot of people who look great and we look up to, but we don't really know what they look like in real life. So you don't know, sometimes you see that they have, like the perfect lighting, the perfect filters, and now even with artificial intelligence, people can manipulate pictures and videos. So you don't know what's real and what's not. So what people can expect going to a bodybuilding show is to like see reality, like with their naked eye, and you see, oh, okay, that's what these people's physique look like. Okay, that's what, or sometimes people look huge on camera, but you look at them on person right in front of you. Oh, okay, that you can actually gauge the real size or how lean they are. So that's the part that I like. I think that's the part what is important to promote bodybuilding, like live bodybuilding more. It's almost like comparing it to a musician, right? Like anyone could be, you're a musician yourself, so you already know this. Like almost anyone could be or fake being a good musician in a studio if you're using like a lot of computer programs or you record like one loop. But a different thing would be going on a concert, playing in front of a crowd, like for a full hour, you're playing your bass or your guitar, and you can't stop, and if you make a mistake, it's right there, and then people actually see your skills. So it's the same thing for motivation and also getting a grasp of reality. And I think the other cool thing about going to a bodybuilding show in person is that you get an opportunity for networking, meeting people with the same interests. So it's very motivating every time you see spectators, including myself, go to a bodybuilding show. It makes you want to work out more than ever because you have it like right in front of you. Oh, okay, like this is like real motivation, and you can actually uh, talk to people that you have only seen in pictures, and you make friends. You and I actually are one of those people who have become friends through bodybuilding, and I'm still friends with people that I met in my very first show. So it's all positive, man.
Those relationships that those friendships that I started and that I met at my first couple competitions, we're all still really really tight to this day. And some of us like have completely different ideas on like the best way to do your diet on a contest prep, but it doesn't matter. It's like we were there backstage together and we both fought tooth and nail regardless of how we placed. And I think that I don't know. I get that I get that impression from every bodybuilding show that I've ever done, but particularly in the ones that are drug tested. So,
Yeah, yeah,
um,
absolutely. I think
what
it's also important, not you said that there's like different ways of doing things. It's like first, it's cool that we can still all be friends. Like there's different methods. Like your carnivore. Some people do a flexible dieting that it fits your macros. If it's like vegetarians, like this and that. Everyone has their own way of doing it, and I think it's cool at the same time that it creates a little bit of like healthy rivalry. Like we all want to like, hey, like my way works, and then the other person goes, hey, the way I do it also works. um, but at the end of the day, we're all playing the same game using different strategies, um, and we can all get along.
for
And
sure,
I mean, even though it's a competition, of course.
for sure, for sure. I love the music analogy too. By the way, thanks for that. Yeah, it's just for me it's just two different types of art, and I think that's kind of been my biggest realization and appreciation for bodybuilding this last year since having not competed, but having just basically done two guest posing shows now back to back after this one without any competitions in between. It's just given me such an opportunity to focus more on the artistic aspect of it. And yeah, I guess just the only thing that I would add on to that is that if you're going for the mindset and the hopes of being being inspired to make better decisions about your health and so that you can look better and so it's like more something for you and you want to get something out of it. I think that that's something that's a kind of value that you'll get exclusively from a natural bodybuilding show. When you go to the bigger shows that aren't drug tested, those are a lot of fun because I mean the physiques are spectacular. All the physiques are good, um, but half of the fun is just like, wow, that's a human being. I'm looking at that man, and that's apparently somehow possible without killing yourself to have that kind of muscle on you. And
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's entertaining. It's very entertaining, and most of the people I think even at NPC competitions are there for the right reasons. I think most of them are really their health first, and yeah, there's some people that get way too carried away with the drugs, and that's really a shame to see. But that's why I just love working with you, Hyro, and why I'm so passionate about the open natural is because we pride ourselves in the drug testing, which we'll get to. It's a fair level playing for everybody, and it just keeps the focus where it should be. So, okay, great. Next question is: can anyone compete at this competition, or do you have to qualify or something? Do you have to be at like a certain level, or be affiliated with some sort of organization or anything?
yeah. That's a great question. Back when I started bodybuilding, um, like many people, I used to find it like very intimidating. Like you see like these people out there and you don't realize that they are just normal people like you know, they have full-time jobs, they have families, they have all their things going on. And especially at the amateur level, like most people are not making money. So on that regard, anyone can compete. It's just like any sport. Um, and I remember also when I was a beginner, I would be kind of like conscious, like sure, maybe I'm not even muscular enough. Like I'm gonna show my entry, and they're gonna laugh at me, and they're gonna tell me, no, kid, you're not buff enough. But of course, that's not how it works. And again, especially at amateur level, anyone is welcome to compete. um, Anyone can do it, just like playing any sport. You know, anyone can play basketball. But you know, some people are better than others. But are from my experience, I've been involved with bodybuilding. I went to my first show in 1995 as a spectator, and have attended many shows, and never, not once, I've never seen any person being mocked or ridiculed because they're not good enough or anything like that. So the audience is always very positive, very respectful. So I would encourage anyone who wants to compete in bodybuilding, just to get their feet wet, or they want to win, pro qualify. You know, we all have different goals, but in general, bodybuilding is very welcoming for everyone. There are some shows that have the transformation award, so sometimes you would see people who overcame something hard, some addiction, or some people who like they lost over 100 pounds, and you always have like these success stories like that. So the audience actually tends to be more receptive to those individuals that they can relate with. Now, back to your question, can anyone compete? So generally speaking, for shows like our own show, the Open Natural, yes, anyone can participate. There are, however, other shows that you have to qualify for. For example, Mr. America, especially because people are competing for cash prizes, or there's shows, for example, on the other side, on the non-tested side, like NPC nationals. Not everyone can go to NPC nationals, so you have to qualify in some shows, and then you can go there and either go for a pro card or go for cash prizes. Speak of cash prizes, I want you guys to know that we are the Open Natural. We are the only show that's giving out cash prizes to amateurs or professionals. Like it doesn't matter. Our show is open to anyone who has the desire to improve themselves and have a good time on stage. And then also they have the chance to win $500 to the best male athlete and $500 to the best female athlete.
Wow. That's yeah, I've never of all the competitions that I've been in, I've never had the opportunity to win cash prizes. That's very, very generous that you're doing that, Jairo. That is so cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. How does someone become a pro bodybuilder if they're natural? What's the what's the process in
Yeah,
becoming
so
a professional?
the first question, since you said we're meaning this podcast for a general audience, so what does even like pro mean, right? So there's like different ranks. Generally speaking, in the context of bodybuilding, amateur shows are the shows where you only compete for a trophy or for bragging rights, and then pro shows are the ones where you have the chance to win money. That's kind of like the general, like the consensus. It's not like in bodybuilding, you know, in other sports, a pro is a person who would be paid just for playing, just for playing a season, regardless of the outcome. I hope bodybuilding will get to that level at some point. But right now, like bodybuilding like that, it still doesn't exist. I think it existed back in the 1970s. There were folks like Arnold Schwarzenegger. I think he was paid. I can't remember the amount. Like Joe Wheeler would pay him like a weekly, I would pay for his apartment, brought him from Europe, and would pay him like a weekly salary and pay for his apartment, and he would write articles. So that kind of pro, that's what I would really call a pro. I think a pro would be a person who gets paid for a job, who can make a living, and then when you get sponsors and you don't even need a day job because you're so good at the sport and you bring in so much money to the table that you get sponsors and people invest money in you, so you don't have to get distracted or miss the gym because you have to work. That you're like, no, like this is your job. That would be a pro. Again, in bodybuilding, I like to use the term pro qualified better. I usually, when I speak of myself, I prefer saying like pro qualified, like I would have the qualifications to do it, but at the same time, I'm not making a living from being a bodybuilder. I don't get paid to lift weights. When now, with that being said, uh, there are some shows that are pro qualifiers, like our own show, where you get in bodybuilding is more of like a status, like you're at a different level. It's almost like you get like your black belt or something like that. It just gives you you compete at a higher level. And then there are some shows again like Mr. America, OCB, Jordan Cup, WNBF Worlds, IP, Natural Olympia, NGA Universe. So there are shows where you have to qualify, you have to win or other small shows, and then they take you as a competitor. So yeah, that'd be the difference. So the amateur show is the show that anyone can compete in, and then pro shows are pros shows where you have to qualify for.
I like that explanation of two different types of professionals within the bodybuilding industry too. I think it's kind of funny because I guess I never really considered myself a professional until you described it that way. But yeah, there if you can make a living full time as a coach, which is basically what I do. And then there's but I don't have a pro qualified card yet. The cool thing about this competition is you have the opportunity to earn that, and you have the opportunity for exposure. So I mean, really, both aspects of being a professional is something that something that you can, I guess, that you can get out of
Yeah.
doing the open natural. So that's
Yeah,
exciting. It's
when you
really
win a
exciting.
when
Cool.
you win a qualifier show, I mean, you get like a plastic like a cool plastic card that says that you are a pro, but really becoming a pro, really making a living out of it, that's up to you. You know, I think these bodybuilding shows are a great place to showcase what you're doing, your talent, promote yourself. It just makes you more believable as a coach, as a gym owner, or if you're working, you know, if you're selling supplements, if you're a blogger, a writer, a contributor for for a you know like a fitness magazine or something like that. If you're in the health um, on the health field, then it gives you like that credential. So I think that's what the pro card gives you. But again, making a living out of it, it's that's up to you.
Definitely. Um, how are the how is the drug tested done? How do you know for sure if somebody's on something, if somebody's on gear?
Okay. Well, for sure. I mean, so far there isn't one method that's 100% perfect. Natural bodybuilding is imperfect, but we certainly give it our best shot. For example, one of the most common practices is using a polygraph. So a polygraph, also known as lie detector. So it's a machine that they would connect you to. So you get like a band around your chest, something plugged to your finger, and then look at your eyesight. So they're checking how you breathe, your heart rate. So an expert would ask you questions about substances or supplements that you have been taking, and then you have to answer only yes or no. And then the polygrapher or the administrator test administered would they will read your response, and then the person, not the machine, will determine if you're saying the truth or not. Now, there's a positive and negative about it. You know, the positive about using the polygraph as a method for drug testing is that they can go back in time. When you're doing urine tests, I think you can only go back like to a few years. What have you been taking in the few years? What shows on your blood? But with polygraph, they can test you, they can ask you questions, and they can inquire about substances that you have been taking in the past 3, 7, 10 years. Now, the trick part with the poly is that usually because of the volume of competitors, if you have 25, 30, 50 competitors, it's not practical to conduct like a fully standardized polygraph test, like 1 hour, you know, like the same test that people would get in court is impractical to do it in bodybuilding. So the tests, unfortunately, they end up being 5, 10 minute tests. So it's kind of like a shortened version of what a real polygraph testing would be. So that's one method, the polygraph, and the other method for drug testing is a urine test, which is what we use for the open natural. So this one, there's no way to cut corners. It's the urine is taken to a lab, so like the person who's going to be examining that is going to be a professional, and it's more specific. Like you can get substances on the ban list, um, and then when somebody tests positive, it's more what's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, just more specific. Okay, if a person fails, okay, they fail for nandrolone, or they fail for testosterone cypionate. But in the polygraph, it's not like you couldn't possibly test positive for like a substance in particular. Like they would never ask you that question. So they just ask you, have you been taking substances on the ban list? But it's just more like abstract. Um, so yeah, for our own show, the Open Natural, we're more fans of the urine testing, and that's what we're doing. And then we test all the winner, every first place winner, and it's paid by us, the promoters. Yeah, we wouldn't ask the athletes for pay for drug testing. So yeah,
Oh, that's cool because yeah, but most of the time, I think that I've been drug tested, I've actually had to pay out of pocket for it. Yeah.
yeah, that is correct. Yeah, normally I think they charge every competitor, I think like $70. Um, and also, you know what? Like charging $70 to every person, that could be discouraging. Again, it's cool if you pay for a full polygraph test. It's not always the case. Um, what I like with, again, urine testing is more concrete. It's what they use in the Olympics, right? You don't hear, yeah, the Olympic Games or other sports doing polygraphs. And I also like that. I think it's only necessary to test winners. Like if I go to a show and I place out of top five, if I place dead last, just give me a break, bro. Yeah, you don't have to test every single person, just
I
the winners.
yeah, that, for sure. You could just be like, hey Frank, how'd your competition go? Well, I failed the test, and so now I'm on the wall of shame, and I didn't even win to begin with. Yeah, that would be really humiliating.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
What are some of the what are like the most common things people get busted for?
I think from what I see, women that get positive for anavar. Anavar is an anabolic steroid that won't give women a lot of the side effects of the others. Like many steroids give women like deeper voices or masculinization. So a Navar doesn't give that. But again, the downside is it's very easy to show on a drug test. And I think the other drugs that are the most common ones are nandrolone, testosterone cypionate, stanosolo, uh, primobolan, trembolone. Those are the ones that I know. And also note that athletes have to be careful, and I recommend anyone who's doing a bodybuilding show to go on a website, WADA.org. So WADA stands for World Anti-Doping Agency, because there's a lot of substances that you could buy at a supplement store, but are banned substances. So anything that's going to alter your hormonal system, so including prohormones or SARMs, there are things that are not banned by the law, but they are banned for sports. Even or fat
Yeah.
burners with ephedrine. That's another good example.
Mhm. What are so like what are you guys testing for? You guys testing for like just anabolic steroids? Or are you testing for stimulants? Are you testing for like what are some of the most common questions that you get around that?
Yeah. Good question. Yeah, that's a fair thing. I should have mentioned. Yeah. So the when I say drugs, all the drugs that we test for are performance enhancement drugs. Again, drugs that would alter your hormonal profile. It's not like the drug testing sometimes some employers would do if you're like smoking weed or doing recreational drugs. We don't test for those, and the reason we don't test for those is because those are not really performance enhancement drugs. Like if you are going to deadlift, squat, or bench, like THC is not going to give you any competitive advantage. So yeah, we don't test for weed because, and I'm telling you that because again,
You
it's a very common question.
depending on what strain you smoke, you might think that you're the best lifter there, but that
Oh
might
yeah,
be
you
your
might think you're the
perception
best
of
lifter.
reality
That's
and
true.
not. Robin Williams had probably the best bit on that ever. He the joke. Well, basically the premise was drug testing in professional sports, and he's like, why are some professional sports drug testing for THC? He's like, it does many amazing things, but you are certainly not enhanced as an athlete from THC. And he had this whole he had this whole skit and acted it out. Oh, it's funny. You should YouTube it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm
Okay.
gonna look it up for
Um,
sure.
cool. What is the atmosphere and the experience like as a competitor? So, like backstage, before the show, after the show, what to expect? Like, what's the experience like for somebody that's never done a show?
Yeah, in general, the experience is very positive because bodybuilding is a niche sport, especially natural bodybuilding. I'll speak
Hmm.
for my own experience. You can share yours as well. I think it's very supportive, even though we are competing one with another. It's more like, oh wow, like, oh you like bodybuilding too? Like, are did we just become best friends?
As a
So it's more
camaraderie.
like that. So like you have this common interest, and then I think
Was that a Step Brothers quote?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
100%.
Okay.
And then you see all the situations like somebody's doing their first show and they forgot their posing trunks and somebody goes, hey, I have extra posing trunks. You want to use them? Or you see people helping another person with their spray tan. And I've seen people backstage say, hey, your tan is messed up on your back. Hey, you want to fix it? So in general, is very supportive. Um, I think we have also been getting a lot of questions. I know we're gonna have some first-time competitors about the run of a bodybuilding show, like what to expect, how long is the show, like do I have to take time off from work? Um, so normally it takes a couple of days. So our show, like most shows, takes place on Saturday, but normally after you sign up, you want to do a check-in the day before. It's usually including our show. Friday prior to the show, you want to go to the host hotel and pick up your competition numbers. You know those buttons that you put with the number, with the contestant numbers, and then a judge or myself are gonna check your suit, your posing suit that is appropriate for your division, that it covers your butt enough, and if it's compliant, if your bikini, of course, it's got to be a two-piece, or if it's or if it's figure or women's bodybuilding, like the suit has to cross in the back. You want that the suits can have sparkle, but everything has to be in good taste. Anyway, you have to get your posing suit approved. And normally, the shows that do polygraph testing, they would do polygraph the Friday prior. We do urine testing day of the show. Um, and then tanning also happens the day before, Friday prior. When you sign up, you go to the hotel, and then a spray tanning company, they will give you your first coat, so you look darker. You go home, and then you come back the next day. Then at the venue, competitors like the tanning vendor, they will see what you look like. If your tan is messed up, in most cases, you need an extra coat, and you need them to touch it up. Um, and then some shows are all day long, and then some shows only take place during the evening. So that's what yeah, we're gonna be one of the shows that only takes place in the evening.
Love it. Um, what's the difference between prejudging and live judging?
Yeah, yeah. So that would be our show. For example, is live judging. Some shows, especially like big shows like the NPC Emerald Cup, where you have like 400 plus competitors, it's a lot easier to split the show in two sessions. So they would have something called prejudging in the morning, let's say at 9 a.m. You get like a more private event in the morning where competitors they do like all the comparisons. They line up the competitors on stage. They do everyone does quarter turns, and then they'll do all the scoring. And then in the evening, usually 5 p.m., competitors would come back, and they just make them do like a little like a stage walk, and then they give the awards. Um, we the Open Natural, we think this is not necessary for natural bodybuilding shows because they don't have as many competitors. So we make it easy for competitors and for spectators, making everything more concise in the evening only. So the prejudging and evening session is not necessary for the natural. So we do something called live judging. So competitors only have to come in at 5 p.m. and everything happens on stage. Like and then when people go to watch the show, they buy tickets. They can see all the scoring, all the judging, all those comparisons, or all the quarter turns, or the stage walks, the awards. Everything happens from 5 to 8 p.m. Um, we find this format more convenient because it makes it also more well, not only more concise but more friendly for spectators. We want people to go
Hmm.
watch the show, not necessarily, not only like friends and family of the competitors, but people who are like bodybuilding fans. Just like when you go to a soccer stadium just to watch a game. A soccer match is usually like 90 minutes, right? Or if you want to bring like a date to a game, so yeah, just come and watch the bodybuilding show, only 5 to 8. We wouldn't expect fans to be at the venue like all day long. It'll be too much.
Definitely. Yeah, I love it. Very, very straightforward.
Hey everyone, Coach Taylor Milton here. Welcome to Skull Bells TV, the official YouTube channel of supersetyourlife.com, where you're going to discover a weekly upload of quick and easy to follow workout tutorials featuring Coach Colt, myself, or one of our athletes to keep your workouts fun, practical, and effective. Our family's latest keto carnivore recipes that fuel Colt's competitions and keep myself and our kiddos strong and healthy. Video uploads of the supersetyourlife.com podcast, now over 100 episodes, your weekly dose of entertainment, education, and inspiration to fuel your life inside and beyond the gym, and much more. Last thing before we get into the video, we're asking a big favor from you. This has been working beautifully, so if you would please think of someone you care about that would benefit from this video, go ahead and smash that like button, click the share button, and text this video to them. That would mean the world to us. And while you're at it, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss more exciting content from Skull Bells TV, because our team has lots of meat and lots of muscle coming your way, and I promise you won't want to miss it. When you hit the subscribe button, you'll see a bell icon pop up. You want to click that too so you're notified every time we release a new video. Thank you so much for the support. It means the world to us. Every like, share, and subscription helps our channel grow and supports our family's hard work. So thank you so much for doing your part too. That's all we ask. God bless you, and please enjoy this video.
Yeah, you know what? I think competing in bodybuilding is one of those life-changing experiences. I think ever since I did my very first contest, you learn how to be more organized. Whether you're prepping for 12, 18, 24 weeks, it gives you skills to be more organized, like time management. You become more disciplined. It gives you like self-respect, and it also gives you that. The reason why a lot of bodybuilding shows are not very crowded, you only see just a handful of people competing, is for how hard it is, because you have to be very resilient and persistent. Like a lot of things, let's say we are 8 weeks to the Open Natural right now. A lot of things could happen in 8 weeks. You can lose your job, get
For
a
sure.
new job. You could move to a new home, get relocated. I remember when I was doing my first show, my car broke down, so I had to get a bicycle, and I was riding a bicycle to work and to the gym. And then it just builds that character in you of like not giving up. And I think there's always things that are gonna happen. There's always things that are gonna make you want to pull out. But if you can build that drive, that discipline, uh, to do things from beginning to end, uh, it's gonna be, you're gonna use them not just for bodybuilding, but those are gonna be attributes that you are gonna be able to carry out like for life.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
and also I
That's
think it gives you, there's not a lot of even though we give cash prizes and some shows give out cash prizes, it's not the main reason. I think also gives you credentials, especially if you are on a related field. If you're a personal trainer, if you're in the health field, um, or even if you have kids, it just makes you a better role model. I remember, again, back when I was training for my first show, I was dating a female bodybuilder, and then she had a little daughter, and the daughter was like, "Oh, mom, you're going to the gym again? Like you come from work, and now you're leaving home again." And like the kid couldn't understand it at first, but then one day as she came home, like with the trophies and the pictures, and showed her, the kid was like, "Wow, like this is really cool, mom. Like I want to go to your next show." And then the kid at some point said that she wanted to be a bodybuilder when she grew up. She was like, she got it and she was proud of the kid. And then if you have a kid and they see that discipline in you, by the time they turn 12, they could start lifting and you can get them into sports. So I think it becomes, on that front, it all becomes like super positive.
I love your answer to that. I completely agree with all of that. Yeah, the kids of the professional bodybuilders that I'm coaching right now, it's like their parents are their superstars. Like it's like they're the superheroes. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like
like
they
my dad's a superhero.
kid kids
Exactly right.
kids want to have. Yeah, I mean, kids want to have big muscles. Kids want to be healthy. Kids want to live long. Like they're not dumb, and so when they see that in their parents, then they just naturally ask their parents what they eat, and they kind of want to follow in their footsteps. And so I'm trying to do the trying to set that example the best that I can here. Hey, by the way, that's what we need to talk about. Um, honest honest opinion. How are my abs looking right now? We're 10 weeks out as of recording. So
Let me
am I
see.
on
I have a
track,
small
Coach?
screen. Oh yeah, I've seen you change before. So something I like about your apps in general,
Okay.
I speak as a judge right now, is that they are, this part is genetic. How they are wide. Some guys, they when they get lean, they get abs, but they look like tiny on the front. I like how your abs are naturally
Yeah.
wide and then they cover all the front. And then another
Yeah.
advantage that you have, and I'm slightly envious, is that you're one of those guys who could look leaner than they actually are. So let's say if you get as lean as 8%, you look like if you were 6%. If you go to 6%, you look like the guys who are 4% body fat. So I think, yeah, I don't know your body fat percentage right now, but you already look as if you were single digit.
Thanks. Yeah, I don't know. I'm probably like somewhere around 7 or 8%, 7, 9%, and so I just figure I'm weighing 193.0 this morning. Macros
What's your height
are
again?
200 protein. I'm 6'1".
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. So I'm thinking that my stage weight's probably gonna be like a buck, uh, a buck 83 to a buck 85 for the open natural,
Hmm.
and that might be a little too lean. So if I start getting glute striations right about then, I might be like, yeah, that ain't worth it. We're covering those up anyway with the classic trunks.
Yeah, in my opinion,
So
especially
we'll
because
touch
you're
we'll
you're
touch base again in a few
because of
more
the
weeks.
posing trunks or your posing style, I think you're sort of representing classic bodybuilding. So yeah, you
Yeah.
have to focus mostly on symmetry, especially in your case. And I think there's something cool that you probably have that nobody else has, is that you're doing for the enjoyment. So that also helps, in my opinion. I don't know. It's a little bit like less stressful. So you're gonna have a little bit less cortisol. You're going to actually feel good doing it.
Yeah. I can't wait. I'm amped for it. It's gonna be a blast. All right, Mr. Jairo. Where can people go to find out more information about the Open Natural?
Yeah, for information, for spectators tickets, registration, or simply if you want to learn more about natural bodybuilding in general, our website is openbodybuilding.org.
Awesome.
Or you could
Cool.
or you
I'll
could
put a link
find
to
me
that in the
or you
show
can
notes,
find
of
me on
course.
Instagram. Our Instagram account is becoming popular at the Open Natural.
Absolutely. And if anybody's got any questions about anything, shoot an email to Jairo, shoot an email to me, comment on the video, hit us up and ask about the Open Natural, and we'll answer whatever questions you have. We want this to be a big show. We want it to be even bigger, even better than last year. Thanks a lot for listening, everybody. We'll catch you on Monday. As always, make sure that you are subscribed to the show, because on Mondays, we've always got something motivating, inspiring, high energy, usually accompanied by some heavy metal music too, just to get you fired up for a new week. So until then, remember this, 1 Corinthians 6:19. Do you not know that your body is a sanctuary of the Holy Spirit who is in you, whom you have from God? Well, have a good weekend, everybody. We'll catch you on Monday for episode 267 of the SuperSetYourLife.com podcast.